Good evening. I am Kamau Kujichagulia. I am on the case this week. Our guest is going to be who's running for Trenton Council-At-Large is going to be Alex Bethea. And we're here every week at Thursdays at 8 o'clock on we stream live on Facebook and YouTube. We're here to cover the stories of the people who are in Trenton and are concerned about Trenton and who love Trenton. Okay, so they're the people that we're going to be bringing to you, and we want them to share with you what they want for Trenton. And like I said, in that vein, tonight we have running for Council-At-Large, Brother Alex Bethea. Hello, Alex.
Hi, how you doing, Kamau?
Good, brother. Very good.
Good, okay. Good.
You were just telling me that you've been out there. You got all your
petition. My petition signed. Yes.
Okay, so you're ready.
I'm ready. I am eligible to be on the ballots. Until you get those petitions, it's just a wannabe. But when you get your petition signed, you are legitimate, a legitimate candidate for the office you seek. So now I am legit.
Well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, Councilman at Large, citywide.
Very good, very good. You know, what was it? 4 years ago?
Yes, sir.
No, it was 8 years ago. You were elected Council-At-Large, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct too. Yes.
Okay. So, well, I tell you what. Before I start asking those questions, for our viewers who may not know who you are, why don't you give us an idea of just who Alex Bethea is?
Okay, I'm Alex Bethea, and I live at 117 Cadwalder Drive in Trenton. I've been there for 30 years. I spent 40 years in the school system as a teacher, a basketball coach, a disciplinarian, and a vice principal. I spent 4 years as the president of the NAACP Trenton branch. My sons and I, my wife and I, sent our children to Trenton High School. We are considered the wrestling family in New Jersey. And so we were able to ascertain 19 Mercer County championships, 15 district champs, 5 regional champs, and 1 state champ, which is the only state champ in wrestling from Trenton Central High School history, 100-year history. So we're very proud of that. And we were a one-income family for 20 years, and our kids now are grown, and they are, college graduates, and they've come back to try to give back, and now they're coaching. We established the Trenton Youth Wrestling Program, and we're in about 5 or 6 schools in the city of Trenton. And so we are doing things. I spent 8 years on council. 4 years ago, I ran for mayor. I wasn't successful, so I thought it would be appropriate for me to try to seek my old seat back so that I can support our city government. I have not been totally satisfied with the situation for the last 4 years, so I want to get back into the mix so that I can.
When you say you weren't totally satisfied, what do you mean by that?
I think more could have been done for our city, and I want to try to assist that. Now,
When you say
because that's a
more,
good
such as
question.
what?
Let, let my platform is public safety, economic development, and education. So if we look at public safety, and in order to get to that point in city government, we need accountability and transparency. I'm I'm not so sure that we've had the the transparency, and I don't feel like the accountability has been there either. Now, taking that under consideration, and my platform, which again is public safety, economic development, and education. When I look at that, particularly the economic development piece, and I know the mayor talked about getting 1,000 units, new units. I would like to see 1,000 new homeowners with some of these houses that maybe are boarded up. We can come up with programs to assist people with
What type of
maybe.
programs are you talking about
um,
specifically? I mean, what would you introduce the council specifically? Because the mayor
uh,
wanted 1,000 too. I mean, I understand you want 1,000, but he also wanted. He didn't do it.
he didn't,
You
but I'm talking, and it's not an easy task. But I'm talking about we can have program. We had a program not so long ago where we would help people who was in a certain income bracket walk into that house with them, help them fix it up, run the pipes, water line, electricity, paint it, put up siding, whatever, fix the roof. And then that person, after we help them, and I think we can find the money to do that, even if we have to go to the state or the federal government to get support and trying to assist people in home ownership. When people own their home, Kamau, and you know this, they take more pride into it, and it's a good thing. It's a way
know, it
that,
is a good thing, but
yeah,
where is his money? I mean, you were on council for 8 years.
yes, sir.
Was that money there then for 1,000 new homeowners?
Well, when I say 1,000, that's not a snap of the finger. That's not overnight, but over time, we can seek to have that as a goal to get 1,000 new homeowners in Trenton. If you don't set a goal, and it doesn't have to be 1,000, it can be 100, it can be 50, it can be five, it can be one, but at least you must have a starting point, because if you don't have a plan and you don't set a point, then we know nothing will happen. In order
Okay,
for something to happen, go
I
ahead.
think I think I think you're 100% right to have a goal, but I
Yeah,
also think we need to have a plan to reach that goal. I mean, everybody
yeah,
when they run for office, they come up with goals. Everybody wants good housing, everybody wants good police, everybody wants good schools, but for the last 40 years,
right.
even though people want that, they have set these goals. We don't have that. So I'm
Yeah.
interested in concrete plans to get that. Do you have a concrete plan to get these homeowners, whether it be 10 or 1,000?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
share that with
Yes, sir.
us.
Yeah, I will share that plan with you. We have what we call monies, economic development monies. We have an economic development plan. What I think, and I think that I could help out if I'm on council, is help try to steer that money, which I don't think it has because I haven't heard anything about it, towards home ownership. We have some money. Let's say we had $1 million to your point, $1 million is all we have. All we have for economic development is $1 million. And we know that that's more. But let's say it's 1 million. Then let's take that $1 million and try to reach out or find a process which we can help someone or some people develop or fix up some home so that they can own the home in a certain income bracket. I don't think our problem is not having the money. I think the problem is not curtailing the money in a direction where we can reach those people who are seeking home ownership or who may not have that opportunity without support. Now, I want to put a spin to that.
When you
I want to
on
put a
council,
spin. I want to
all right, go ahead.
let me spin that a little bit. Let me spin that. I want to spin that. I want to spin that to my children, my boy. When before we achieved the state champion at Trenton Central High School, what I had to do on a personal note, I had to start them out early because I understood the game. I just want to share this with you, this little story with you. So, and I had to take them all over the state and sometime out of state in various states in order for them to be competitive when they got to high school. Because if you wait as Trenton waits, you get ninth grade, you get exposed to something called wrestling. Then you don't have a chance of becoming a state champ. There's zero chance. So I understood that. So now that phase has passed and we were able to garnish one state champ. But my point is, this is my point. This is the key point. We came back after we achieved 19 Mercer County championships. And as I just said, I won't go through that again. We said, okay, let's start a program, Bethea, and try to get youngsters, give them an opportunity when they are in first, second, and third grade. Let's take that proposal to the Board of Education. Say, Board of Education, we will do the work. All we need is your space and your kids and a time slot where we can come in and share with these youngsters who would not have an opportunity otherwise. So I'm saying that to say I can use the same process in the economic development until somebody do it and step up to the plate. It ain't going to happen. Just like the wrestling program. Now, what we've had is we've had great success. I don't want to call the young lady's name because she's a minor, but we have a young lady who's in the 8th grade who has national recognition in the 8th grade, state champ on that level. Without this program, and there's others, and she's an A student.
Okay, well, that's
but
good.
I want to.
But
Yeah.
let's get back to the city.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
let's get back.
So
all right.
there,
Now you're
okay.
talking about trying to get 1,000 people to become homeowners. Okay,
yeah.
That's the what is that? Is that public safety? Is that education? Is that
economic development? Economic development.
Tell me about your public safety.
Okay. All right. Let me just put a little bit more closure on this economic development. But let's say we know that there is some money for economic development, but let's say we got one homeowner. Let's say we have 2, 3, 4. That's still better than 0. Now, you said you wanted me to talk about education. Is that what you?
Yes. No. Well, that's up to you. Public safety, education. What's the plan?
Let's public safety. Now, I want to preference my public safety uh, piece with this. And I indicated we must have something called transparency and accountability. When um, people are not doing their jobs or do their jobs wrong, we have to hold them accountable. We have to be transparency about it, and we have to hold them accountable.
You
My
talking about the police?
perspective, public safety, yeah, I'm talking public safety, I'm talking police.
Okay.
My piece about public safety is I would love to see, and I will advocate for this. I would love to see more policemen on foot patrol, walking the beat,
You say
trying
more?
to get
Are there
to
any?
try- trying to get familiar with the community from which they serve. Try to
Are there
know
any right
the neighbor.
now?
I'm sorry,
Are there
I didn't hear
any
you.
on foot patrol right now?
Through my observation, my friend, very little. I don't see. I would like to see more. Maybe the key word is more. I would like to see more police officers in Trenton on foot patrol, particularly in
You know,
our
Alex,
key area. Hmm?
I've heard that. I've heard that for the last 30, 40 years that
Okay.
everybody wants to have more police presence in the neighborhoods. But
Yes, sir.
I haven't seen that happen in all.
Well,
It may start off sometime, but
yeah.
then in a
Right.
couple of weeks it's gone. I mean,
Right.
so I mean,
Right.
you were on
Yes.
council before.
Yes, sir.
You were there.
That's sir.
You wanted that same goal back then.
That's right.
What happened back then that it didn't
Okay. And
happen?
that's a good question. That's an excellent question. And you alluded to it. Sometimes when government officials um, indicate that they want something, they press for something, it will happen. It may not happen for long, like you say, and then it fades out. Just like you said, I've seen it. I've seen them on foot patrol. I've seen them do that for a while. And then nobody says anything, and it's back to business as usual. You've seen it, and I've seen it. So I am saying that I would like to see consistency with with police officers on foot patrol,
Okay,
walking the
well,
beat, not for
I
two
don't know if
weeks,
we're ever going to
not for
see that.
2 months, huh?
What else would you like to see on the public safety end other than foot
Okay,
patrol? Because I don't
I,
know if that's ever going to
okay,
happen, Alex. To be honest, got truth.
okay, okay. That's fair. That's fair. And now we have crime for the last couple of years has been the on the rise, and we have to. And I'm not a police officer, and I'm not a task force person, and that's not my area of expertise. But I do know on council you have influence to put in your request, and sometimes when you do that from the council seat, you do get action, you get response. So I would like to see, you know, us do a better job at dealing with crime. Now, when I talk about public safety, I would like to put a plan in place. And I don't have this plan readily available off the top of my head, but it's something that I would like to work with yourself and maybe some of the other people, is come up with a plan where we could have our senior citizens feeling safe as they at least come outside of their house, go shopping or go for a walk. I would like to come up with some kind of a plan that I do not have yet, but I'm interested in a discussion. Now, with that public safety piece, well, I want to connect to, I want to connect the education piece with public safety just for a moment. Now,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
I am let me tell you this because I don't want to miss this piece. Um, One of our neighbors came up with this uh, uh, with this interest group, and we are in communication with the superintendent of schools, and it deals with public safety and education to try to come up with a plan so that we can curtail some of the violence that are taking place inside the school, in and out amongst students. I am a part
But
of
what is
that
the plan?
team as we speak, huh?
What is that plan?
The plan is to have a discussion. We meet monthly with the superintendent down with the Board of Education to come up with a plan, to create a plan. It's not fully developed. This has been happening for the last 4 or 5 months. And we've been meeting with
That's you know what that's
Superintendent
been happening
Earl to
for the
try to
last
have,
25
I'm sorry,
years. That's been
huh?
happening for years. That
Yeah,
we have been
yeah,
trying
but
to decrease the violence
no,
inside the schools. But come
no,
on, Alex,
well,
Alex,
well,
Alex, 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 brother man. Come on, you're giving me, you know, wide open. Everybody wants this. Everybody wants it. But
no,
how are you going to accomplish this?
Mr.
I know
Kamal,
you. I know you've been working on stuff like this for years, and it's
hold
still
on now.
basically the same condition that
No,
it's been in for years.
no, no, Mr. Kamal, listen to me good. Listen to me real good. Now, I want you to take this and all your viewers to take this home or take this at heart. Whether I am on city council or not, I'm going to do what I do. And I just indicated to you, and I want you to hear this because this is important. I've been meeting with a group, an interest group, with the superintendent of school. I have not done that in the past. And I didn't initiate this group. It was initiated. The person called me, asked me if I would be interested in being a part of this group.
Who is this
That
group?
has not happened in this to it has not happened in the recent years where the superintendent of school with an interest
And a
group
group.
community
And a
to
group.
try to come up with a plan. Now, if you've been on a plan or
But who's
group
the group?
that I don't know about, then I will take that. But I have not. This is the first of its
Okay.
kind,
All right. All right.
and
First time. First time. Who is the group? What's his organization's name? We
it,
want
it's
to.
it's it's
We want to know.
okay. Okay,
I mean, there's
it's
so many times people.
okay.
Trenton is so
It's
close. They
it's
don't want to
a
say. They don't want to name
No,
names. Who's the
listen,
group?
Miss George Kersey had created this group. It's a task force group, and she has reached out to the superintendent and myself, and there's several other people on there to try to come up with a plan. I think it's a brilliant idea. You can't. It's not. It would be unwise, in my opinion, to say, "Well, hey, we've been doing it. It's been 50 years. Do nothing." We are putting forth an effort to try to come up with something. We don't know what that something is yet. We don't know what it's going to look like, but at least it has been initiated. I didn't initiate it. I didn't create it. I was asked to be a part of it. I agreed. We have met with the superintendent of school at the Board of Education. I'm sure you would be invited to come. There's other people who came maybe once or twice to try to come up. And I'm sure that they would encourage your input or whomever who have some great ideas so that we can come up with a plan to try to implement into our school system to try to cut down on some of this violence. I think it's a great idea, whether
I
I'm
think it's
on
a
campus
great
or not.
idea too. You know, I know,
Whether I'm
I
on
know,
council or
my
not.
sister. I know my sister's out there fighting that fight. You know,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes,
how
sir. And
about how about
she
now?
she's
Now,
not
now
she's not looking for credit. That's why I didn't want to
now
call.
outside of outside of discipline and what about
Yeah.
improving the outcomes of the district?
You're talking about school, the education
I'm
piece,
talking
right?
education,
You're
critical,
talking education. You're talking education now, right? Is that
right,
what? Okay.
right.
Now, now, I wanna just reflect back just a bit so that we can get it, so we can be clear. We have public safety, economic development, and education. Now, I'm going to I'm going to go out on the limb a little bit here. I'm going to take a risk, and actually it's twofold. And one is I understand that the council has no direct authority over the Board of Education. It's a separate entity. I understand that very well. So I want to make that clear. Number two, the second part is I consider myself an expert in urban education, not suburban, urban education. I consider myself an expert and I have evidence that I can prove that. Now, on the council, though you may not have any jurisdiction, you can provide some influence. As I indicated to you, I have the ear of the superintendent of schools. Now, if I provide him information from my expert knowledge, it would only be wise for him to adhere to some of what I would share and try to implement some of that in the school system. Now, let me tell you how we can go
That would be
about.
wise.
That would be wise, and I have evidence and I'll give you some statistics about the evidence that I have in a few minutes. If and I don't have to, but what we what we I think that we need to do a better job, and I think we can do it. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be overnight, and you're not going to see results in 1 year, but you can see results in 5 and 10 years. Amazing results. Now, since I have been a part of the district for 40 years, I have a clear understanding of the operation from the top to the bottom, K through the superintendent's office. And I think one of the pieces that we miss, and I'm gonna put it in a manuscript. I gotta write this stuff. I gotta write a book, man, so that I can share it with not just Trenton, but with other schools. But one of the things, a few of the things that we miss, particularly during the early years, kindergarten, pre-K, first grade, second grade, third grade.
How are you going to improve the school districts?
So in order for you to improve a school district, you're not hearing me. You must start, in my opinion, the expert self-proclaimed, you must start pre-K, first grade, second grade, and third grade. Let me
Alex,
share some
Alex,
thoughts.
Alex, Alex. You remember who was the sister that came in the early '90s? I
I,
remember I remember a sister
Bernice,
came in.
Bernice
Bernice
Venable.
Venable. Yes, that was the
Okay,
exact same thing she said back in the early '90s. You know,
okay.
when
Then
when
share,
Lido
share.
when Lido came in the late '90s, early 2000s. That's the exact same thing he said then. We know we got to start with the preschool, with the early elementary, and then work up. Man, we done graduating class after graduating class after graduating class during those 30, 35 years, and it ain't happened.
Well, the one thing that
You know that.
will
You've
happen.
been there.
You, you,
You know
yeah,
what this
I,
district is
you,
doing or isn't
Miss,
doing.
you're correct. You're correct, Kamau. Let me go back. I want to respond to what you just said
Well,
because
you can't
that's
go back
key.
too far 'cause we have your time is just about up now, brother. And I need
Oh
to
man,
ask
I
you
thought.
I need to ask
Listen,
you a couple other things.
okay,
Number
okay.
one, we're talking about the Trenton School Board. Should it be elected or should it still be appointed by the mayor?
That the council has no authority over that.
When?
That's in the hands of
Exactly.
the
I'm
voters.
not asking the
I,
council.
I
I'm
have
asking Alex Bethea.
you. I have no opinion on that. That's in the hand of the voters. That's a question I should be
You're a
asking you.
voter, brother. You're a voter.
Right. So you asking me how I would vote on that matter? Is that
Yes.
your question? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with it being elected. I have no problem with that. But that's not in my hands. The council don't make that decision.
Okay.
Council do not make that
I
decision.
just wanted to know your
I have
opinion
no
about.
problem. I have no problem with being elected. I have
Now
no
you
problem with
grew
that.
up in Dillon, South Carolina, right?
Yes, sir. Born and
And
bred.
as you know, what is a Dillonite? Is
What
that
is
the
it?
organization?
Yeah, it was Dylan. I was president of
What
that
is that?
organization. People who migrated from Dillon, South Carolina to the north, i.e., Trenton and vicinity. And we had an organization of those persons who were from that area. Dillon is also a city, but it was the county as well. So anybody that was from Dillon County that has migrated through the Great Migration, because there was a great migration that took place up to the 70s, and they were located in this vicinity. It could be as far as Pennsylvania, New York, Delaware, and we came together as a group to share and reminisce past experience. That's the Dylan night.
Okay, brother man, brother
Yes, sir.
Alex. It's
Yes,
always good. It's always good
you,
interacting with you.
you know I
So
love you,
we
brother.
appreciate you being here. We love you too, brother. You know that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yes,
good
sir.
luck out there on that campaign trail.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir. And
right.
I appreciate you holding me accountable because I believe in accountability.
Well, that's what we do. We got to get
Yeah,
on the
that's
case.
that's I
give,
love it.
give
I
my
love it.
love to Gloria and the family. Okay.
Yes, sir. Maybe next time you have me back so I can get in more detail.
Yes, sir. We'll have a longer
All right.
show. All right,
Yes, sir.
Alex. Take care. Oh man, speaking with Alex Bethea is always a pleasure for me. Alex has been out there for many years. Like you said, in the school system for 40 years, and he also homeschooled. I don't know if he said this. Homeschooled his own children up until high school. So that was his wife Gloria who did that. So it's always a pleasure. You know, um, going away from that a little bit, this week has been, well, it's been like it's always been. The system of white supremacy is beating our butts. That's what's happening to us, and we've got to find a way. I was talking with some people today at a conference, and what they say that we need are resources, and that's exactly what we need. We need the resources so that we don't have to keep going back to people who obviously do not care that much for us, so that we can take care of ourselves. And that's where reparations comes in. This whole question of reparations, to me, is simply not a question. I believe that this system of white supremacy owes black people upwards of $100 trillion, okay? So that we can individually have the resources to take care of ourselves and our families, but also as a community to be able to pave our streets, to improve our water quality, to improve our educational outcomes. We need reparations to do that. We have to stop having to go to white people and begging them and pleading with them to help us, because you can see by the outcomes. All you have to do is look around you. Just in the city of Trenton, you don't have to go outside of the city. Just in the city of Trenton, you can see that the outcomes that we've gotten over begging and pleading for money and resources is the condition that we're in now. We have very bad schools. This Trenton district has, I won't even just say Trenton district, but black districts have had failed educational outcomes for 40, 50 years. Okay, that's because the state board of education is whose job it is to ensure that our children have a thorough and efficient education. They haven't done it. They just simply have not done it. They don't have the will. There's a way, because Lawrence Township does it, Ewing does it, Heightstown does it. All of these white suburban areas, all these white areas, they make sure that their children are getting that education. But when it comes to black areas, they make sure that they don't get that education. Okay, and it's incumbent on this society that we built, not only by the strength of our backs, but also by the strength of the monies that was stolen from us to help build this country. We need that money. We need to be repaired. We need reparations so that we can take care of ourselves. But, unless we come together as a people and fight for this as one, white folks are going to continue to say, "Oh, reparations! I didn't enslave anyone. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't take anybody's money." And it's bull nonsense. They did. So, man, I can get carried away a little bit. But I'm going to end right there. On the case next week. We have on our show. Who do we have next week? Oh, Freedom. That should be a great interview when Freedom Green comes over. Freedom is running for mayor. Okay, and the brother is heavy. He'll come in and he'll drop bombs of wisdom. So next week at Thursday at 8:00, we'll be back here and we'll be on the case. I thank you for watching.